Oh, there's people.
Awesome. The technology is working. Sacha, we are live, Facebook Live. And everyone, thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching this live, you can post any questions you want, and we will put Sacha right on the spot and demand an answer. Okay?
I'll try my best.
What we're going to talk about today is how to write better listings to make more money by making more sales. And Sacha is incredible at this because she is a writer. She's a copywriter. Okay. Yes. And I didn't use the word copyright in our posts because I don't want people to be turned off. This is about writing better listings and selling more products and making more money. Okay, Sacha, do me a favor. I always start with the same question. How did you end up working in this Amazon space that we all find ourselves in?
Okay, so that's a great question. Basically, about 3-4 years ago, just after like I'd had my second kid, I started doing some freelance writing, and I was hired by a company to literally write their title for their Amazon products, and they paid me $5, and I was like, cool. And then they were really happy with what I did, and they basically trained me up to do all their listings, and they had like 7 different brands on Amazon. Like they were selling all kinds of pet and aquarium products, and then they also, what they did was they used their products and they sold them into different categories and branded them differently. So I picked up a lot of tricks along the way, and then about like a year and a half ago or so, I quit working for them and I started just doing it for myself, and I love it because I get all these different products to write about and I find it really interesting. So yeah, that's the short version of how I got into this.
I got to tell you, I love that story, and there are many, many Amazon sellers that we help with their plans of action and their IP issues who started off either providing just a simple service to Amazon sellers, and there are other people who started by working for Amazon sellers and said, hey, I can do this, or they had a source of products. There are people who were in traditional retail families that then took their families online. So it's really cool. That's how you got into it. Were you working with like Fiverr or something? You said it was $5.
Yeah, no, it was actually on Upwork, funnily enough. And like, I was one of their like top rated freelancers, and I was getting a lot of like Amazon jobs because that's how I kind of branded myself. And then I basically decided to not use my profile on the platform anymore and start my own website. And that actually taught me the power of branding and really differentiating yourself in the marketplace and not just being sort of like another freelancer in that space. And that's how I ended up, you know, like speaking at the Amazon conference in Prague and being here with you today as well. So,
like I tell you, we found some of our best people, not through Fiverr, but of all places, of Craigslist. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I met some of my long-term business colleagues and great friends literally through Craigslist. So I think that's a really cool way that you started. What I like to generally do is also start with the broad categories, right? And then we'll get into sort of the nitty-gritty of how you help sellers. So what do you do on the broad picture to help sellers with their listings and to make more money?
Right. So on the broad sense of things, so obviously I prefer to help sellers before they launch their product, because that way I can make sure that the listing is really optimized before it goes live and everything. So I do all the keyword research, obviously, and I help them write their listing, creating a listing that shows the best benefits and features and tells a story about their products. And then more recently, I've also started getting into the enhanced brand content. And that's something that a lot of sellers, I think, need help with, because I feel like there's not really so much tutorials or instructions on how to do it properly. So you're just kind of given these modules and templates that you can use. But if you don't use them properly, I don't think it's going to help you generate more sales. So I try and help sellers create really good templates that not only show the best features of the product, but also kind of tell a story as well. So that's very broad sense of what I do. And then if listings are already live on Amazon, so sometimes they're not performing so well, so I'll check, you know, what keywords they're ranking for.
Hold on, let me jump in and interrupt you, and I apologize in advance for interrupting you.
No, it's fine.
The coffee I had this morning was like that. It was a monster. And we recently moved offices. This is the last webinar from this office. We moved about 3 blocks east from here. And this is the last one from here. We have a Gentle Brew coffee in Long Beach, New York. Is absolutely killer. All right, let's start with the first thing you talked about, identifying keywords. And then I think what's more important is a lot of people can ID the keywords, but then working the keywords into the listings in a way that reads well and also drives your ranking.
Yeah. It's quite hard to do because you're always making this judgment call. Like you really want to use this keyword and it's like an amazing keyword, but it just sounds terrible like in the sentence that you're using. And then you have to like manipulate the sentences to use it. So you have to be really careful in using those keywords properly. And obviously, like if not all the keywords that you want to use fit in the front end of the listing, you can put them in the subject matter or in the back end search terms, which also index and will help you with ranking. But yeah, it's definitely hard to do, and you have to kind of sit there for a few hours sometimes figuring out the best way to integrate the keywords into the sentences and into the title. And it's also hard sometimes because some categories have more character limits. So if the titles are shorter, then it's even harder because you can't even get all the keywords that you want in.
I tell you, I live this problem, okay? And as lawyers, you are trained writers. We're trained to identify issues, write persuasively, write concisely. And I spend hours every single day, literally every day, instead of putting plans of action, plural, which works more into sentences with good grammar, using plan of action, because those are the search terms. No one searches for plans of action, plural. Right. And so in order to write well, you have to write a lot and you have to be a writer. So yeah. How much of your time is spent writing and rewriting and then editing?
A good amount of time. I mean, sometimes it depends on the product, because if it's a product, like I'm actually a mom, I have 3 children. So if it's a product that I identify with more, so obviously I have an easier time because I see myself using the products. But if it's something more techie or for men or something, so I need to spend more time researching, reading forums, talking to my husband or whoever would be a user of that product, because then you really get to know real information and you're not just making stuff up, you know, that you think people will be using it for or whatever. So doing the research is definitely a big part of the writing. The writing takes less time, I think, than doing the research beforehand. So
I gotta tell you something. I think that's huge that you do that. That if it's a product, I read a little bit about you. I know you did like socket wrenches, and I saw muffin cups. And I'm thinking, listen, I just turned 50, right? And I'm thinking like muffin top, like that extra layer of like flab that I just can't seem to get rid of. No matter how many miles I run, it just won't go away. So keyword identification, I think, is vital. A lot of people can do it. Writing is a unique art, okay? So Amazon sellers are generally awesome entrepreneurs at finding products, selling products, sourcing products, identify what people are going to buy next, being really quick at jumping on the bandwagon. But a lot of writers, especially, you know, about 20% of our business are sellers who have religious educations rather than secular educations, and their writing skills, they're incredible business people, but their writing skills are not at the level of like mine or yours. Right. So I love that you do the research into people that actually use the products. To me, that's huge. So what did you do, okay, to write listings for exercise cards? I mean, that's sort of an odd thing here. An exercise, I don't even know what an exercise card is.
So basically, it was this the exercise card was actually this company that have these like decks of cards. They're pretty big, and what you do is when you go to the gym, you like lay them out in front of you and you follow the exercises on the cards. So instead of like watching something on your phone, you just carry these cards and you can create different workouts for yourself. That one was actually not super hard to write about because I'm really into fitness and stuff like that. I actually used to be a gymnastics coach. So, and I still keep fit. I actually take a boxing class as well for women. So I'm really into like exercise. So that one wasn't like too hard. But when you mentioned before, like the tools that guys need for their cars or fixing up their bikes and stuff, that was really tough. Because I'm like no idea how to like even change a tire. So yeah.
That's really funny. I got to tell you something. The more and more entrepreneurs that we deal with, you see a certain type of person out there, like you, balancing the 3 children and a husband. I know managing a husband, from what my wife tells me, can be quite challenging from time to time, right? I also know you travel because we met in Prague. Yeah. I think we met someplace else. I forget which part of the world it was. Plus the business, plus the research, and then making sure the writing. And writing, you said earlier, sometimes flows very easily. Other times it's challenging. You're editing to make sure like your keywords kind of fit in. What are you doing for sellers with the enhanced brand content? Didn't
So
half
for the enhanced brand content, what I've been doing for sellers lately is helping them create their brand story, because when you have a brand story, it's something that's very memorable, and it's like makes you recognizable and people connect to it so much easier. So when you have a brand story, you can put that in the top of your EBC content. You can then reuse that on your packaging or like in message inserts or in emails or just in different touch points across your business. And then it kind of jogs people's memory, like, oh, I remember this brand, like I remember their story, and they connect with it. So I'm definitely helping them with that. And then
let me stop you for a second. I think I don't think a lot of people recognize the importance of storytelling. Before getting into Amazon, I was a trial lawyer. I tried car accidents, employment cases, medical malpractice cases, and I learned very early on from some great lawyers that humans have been teaching each other and telling stories since our inception, since we began to walk the earth. That's how we relay information, and it's how we absorb information, whether we like it or not.
100%.
So storytelling for products is vital. Like when I went on your website, I saw the top 3 things: rank higher, storytelling, and increasing conversions.
Yeah.
So if you're selling out there, you need to create your brand, and the successful brands have a story behind it. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at Nike, just do it with like Air Jordan slam dunking and the latest athletes. It's a story that you can be a better athlete.
Right.
So what tell us about how you work storytelling into products like dog frisbees and storytelling into muffin cups. And I definitely want to hear the storytelling about lingerie sales.
The lingerie one. Yeah, that was the best one. I'll start with the lingerie one because that was more recent. So basically this company where they actually, I think they hand make, or when they first started making their products, they handmade these like silk pajamas for women. And so what I helped them write was this kind of brand story where you're creating like this intimacy, you're creating this feeling that makes women feel like they're feeling sexy, that they feel better about themselves, that they're taking care of themselves. And that is like so important to tell people that story versus just selling, oh yeah, this pajama set is like stitched so well and it's made with French lace and it's like super comfortable and it's this and it's that and like a million features that people forget about. Like they want to hear the story of how it's going to make them feel sexy, how it's going to make their relationship better.
Hold on, for all the listeners out there, to me, Sacha just hit it out of the ballpark, okay? Because when you wear something, whether it's lingerie or like I'm picking out I always wear Brooks Brothers ties, okay? It's not necessarily about how others see me or how they like my blue tie. It's how it makes me feel in my blue tie, okay? Right. And it took me a couple of weddings to get that. It's about how it makes you feel. Like if your significant other is wearing lingerie, he or she needs to feel attracted. That makes them feel good.
Exactly.
That's storytelling. That's how you sell products, by making the consumer feel something. That's huge.
Yeah, definitely. It's about making the consumer the hero of the story and not making your product necessarily the hero. Although in some cases there are exceptions to the rule, like where the customer does need a hero, they do need someone to save them kind of thing. But in most cases, it's really, really good to try and make the focus of the story on the customer. And like as an example, like you should try and make your product, to be the guide. Like, so let's say if we talk about Harry Potter, so Harry Potter is the main character. So that's your customer. He's the hero in the story. And then your product is Hermione Granger, who's the guide who helps him do all his whatever things.
Oh my God. I've read a book called Story Branding, or Creating a Story for Your Brand. Yeah. If you email me, I'll send out the title of the book. It's an awesome, exactly that, where the consumer is the hero, okay? You're talking about something a lot more modern. For the older listeners out there, think of Star Wars, okay?
Or Batman. We'll do Batman and Alfred.
Yeah, Batman and Alfred, okay? You're shooting really hard. I don't know if you just hurt my feelings or not, okay?
Sorry.
So Batman has Alfred as his guide. Luke Skywalker has Obi-Wan Kenobi. The consumer is the hero. The product is the guide, okay? Right. They're the ones buying. Make them the hero. They're the subject. Make them feel sexy if it's lingerie. Make them feel like they can fix a car if you're selling socket wrenches, right? And if they're eating muffins, make them feel like they're still going to be in shape afterwards. It's how the consumer feel by participating in your brand. I mean, that's killer. How does the storytelling work its way into your customized listings, which then work its way into ranking higher and making more money, which is why we're all here.
Right, 100%. So basically, like, once you have your product features and then you want to tell a story with them. So we'll give like an example. Like, actually this week I bought sleeping bags because I went camping with my kids and my husband, which was crazy. But the guy in the store, he like asked me, he didn't say like, oh yeah, this sleeping bag has this and this thickness and it's for this, I don't know, number of degrees when it's cold outside. He asked me like where I'm camping, like what area. And he's like, oh, this is great for camping in the area which is outside of Jerusalem, because it doesn't get too cold. Like he was worried that we were going to go up north or to the desert and it gets really, really cold. And he said that these sleeping bags would be good. So he understood like where I was, like in kind of like in the story, like in my, and he didn't try and sell me like on the features. He was asking me specific questions of why I need it. So that's what you've got to do in your listings. And then once you do that and you use the really, really good keywords, you're going to be ranking so much higher. You're going to also, when you use these stories like in your packaging and in message inserts and emails, it makes your customers feel good. And they're going to have that much better like experience with your products. They're going to leave better reviews and then you're going to rank higher. So it's all like a sort of circle that's connected together, if you know what I'm saying.
100%. I love that he was asking all about you. Where are you going, right? He was asking, he probably asked you how often you went camping. By the way, I just got back from a trip with my wife and our blended family of 4 kids. So here's a round of applause for you for going camping. I stayed in a house with air conditioning with our own room. I can't do it any other way, man. So you went camping, you're a champ. And again, storytelling is one piece of the puzzle. And I think where Sacha's incredible skill set comes in that a lot of us don't have is taking the keywords, the product, identifying the consumer's perspective, and then working that all into written words, into verbiage to end up ranking higher. I mean, that's it. And ranking higher means more conversions and more sales and hitting what the consumer is looking for. Let me ask you something. I love on your website that it says, and I love making an impact, okay? You juggle a lot of balls in the air. You wear a lot of different hats, okay? Yep. When it comes to the business, making an impact, what do you mean and why do you love doing it?
So, I mean, the best part is just like when I get emails back from customers and they're like, this is amazing, because they like, sometimes people think that they have a really decent listing, and it's true. Like sometimes people can write their own listings. Like if you speak English and you're like a decent writer, you can write a decent listing. But sometimes people come to me and then they're like so shocked, and that just really makes me super happy. And also just seeing an increase in sales. Like after I've done listings for people, the best result was that this guy saw his sales literally doubled like overnight with one of his main products because of improving the listing and adding the EBC to the product listing. And that's just super awesome. And I love like those stories like that. But what also I understand is that what I do is not it's a very big part of selling on Amazon, but also it comes down to what products you choose, your pricing, and how competitive the market is, and all those different things come together. So like I'm aware of all those things as well that the clients are going through, which I think is really important. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I love that you do that. We interview people who have taken their special skill set and focused on Amazon sellers, okay? That's what we've done as a law firm with our plans of action, intellectual property right issues, arbitrations against Amazon. You've taken that with your research ability and your incredible writing, okay? Ashlyn Haddon, for example, sells insurance, but she has focused her entire business on e-commerce. So you know the needs. The fact that you know that sourcing and pricing is an issue, that makes you special to Amazon sellers. That means you speak their language and you know their concerns. Now you also have graphic designers on your team, right?
I also have graphic designers, yeah.
How do they help sellers create better listings and make more money?
Right. So I think having a good graphic designer, it's very, very difficult to find because a lot of graphic designers are talented, but they need a lot of direction. And so you need to sometimes tell them, spell it out to them, like what you really need, how you want your brand to be represented through the photos, through any sort of infographics that you're creating and different images. And especially when you're doing EBC, you can get really, really creative with the pictures. So that's really important, though, is that when you're doing your graphics, to keep them consistent, meaning that if you have brand colors, so try and keep those brand colors consistent in your website, because if someone's checking your website before they buy your stuff on Amazon, which people do quite often because they want to check that you're legit. So make sure your colors are consistent, make sure the graphics are consistent across, website and your listing and your EBC. And so I work with the graphic designers on that as well. I say, this is the client's website, like these are the kind of pictures, this is the kind of personality that their brand has. So let's create something in the EBC that's, consistent with what they have already. And so that's what we do. And
as you're talking about that, and you coached me, okay? When Sacha and I, we were in Prague together at a fantastic Amazon event for selling in Europe and selling around the world. And Sacha looked at my stuff and like, I didn't follow it. Like right now where it says Sacha Gorelik copyright.com, it's red. It should be orange. All of our marketing should be orange. Like we have right now, I think the viewers can see it like above this shoulder over here. There's a graphic. Where is it here? There it is, right? There's a graphic with our pictures. My logo should be there. Okay. So for Amazon sellers out there, as you're developing your brand, and I want to talk about something also different about developing your brand in a few moments, you should put your branding on everything. And if you talk to somebody like Sacha, she'll identify for you, but then you got to follow it. Okay. You get the best advice in the world, right? Then you got to follow it. Okay. I love what you do. I love that you are a professional writer who knows Amazon, knows the issues, the sourcing issues, the pricing issues, keywords, okay, and puts it all together and making great listings. I think it's huge. They have graphic designers on your team. They also know branding and storytelling, which is vital, okay? Yeah, if you had to boil it down to like one last topic for us to discuss, okay, what would it be for Amazon sellers?
One last topic. I think the main thing that I want to say is, a really important message is about doing things properly. So, like, it's, I know it's hard.
Suspension avoidance, so you don't need CJ. You want to do it right.
Yes.
You don't want to use words you shouldn't be using, okay?
Yeah,
you don't need me. You can say it. I don't want people to need me. We can always focus on our intellectual property and brand development and brand protection, okay? If the suspension slowed down, I would be okay with that. So tell Amazon sellers all over the world how they can avoid getting suspended by bad listings.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like, don't do anything that's against TOS. Don't use things in your EBC that say warranty or whatever, because it will get flagged, it will get taken down. When you're doing your images, follow like the guidelines and stuff like that. And I understand obviously that people are on a budget, but when you're on a budget and you do things on the cheap, you pay for it later. And so it's really important to like make sure you have, you make a good investment, make good choices with the people that you hire, and make sure you hire CJ if you need help, obviously. Yeah.
It's so funny. I love that you hesitated a bit, okay? Because listen, that is the goal of these webinars. Really generally have two goals, okay? One, sell more products and make more money. And number two, don't screw it up so that you get suspended, okay? So Sacha, while I appreciate it, our private label brand protection business is thriving. Amazon, I was gonna say steals, but a better word is seizes more and more money and inventory from sellers. So taking Amazon, to arbitration is growing. And if Sacha can protect just one account from being suspended, I will feel really, really great about this entire webinar. Okay. Let's talk logistics, okay? Let's say that this webinar gets seen by like 3,000 people, which is kind of where we usually hit after it plays for a while on Facebook, okay? How do our viewers reach you? Not the graphic designers, not your team. How do people that come from our webinar get Sacha on the other end of the email or the phone?
They just come to my website, which is sachagorelikcopywriting.com. Or you could search for me on Facebook as well, which is Sacha Gorelik, or you could find my page, which I think is SG Amazon Copy. I think I need to check that. But so they can find me on Facebook or my website and send me a message. Like, my website has these automated emails, but I do also respond personally to every single message that people send me. And so I hope people don't get scared off by that when they get this automatic response, but I am there and I am answering emails. And basically I have a couple of other writers on my team, which I work with when I am very overwhelmed with work, but it's always like me working with them. So I'm going through all the work, and obviously the clients know that they're getting the highest quality work at the end of the day. It's not like I'm outsourcing it for someone for $5 and then pretending that I wrote it. So I'm very dedicated to all the listings that I do. Yeah.
You know, I had an interesting conversation this morning with another vendor, and we were having a conversation about someone else who does plans of actions. That's like a solo. She works by herself, and everything else she farms out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we are so much better is because we don't farm anything out. Everything is done internally by a team of writers in our office collaborating together. And I love that you mentioned that everything goes through your fingers. Every word, every listing, every paragraph that's written is going through Sacha, and that is absolutely vital. But she also has a team backing her up, right? With 3 kids, once one of the schools is calling you to come pick them up, or someone's throwing up and has to stay home, right? And it happens. So Sacha has a team behind her, and I only have people on this webinar that I have met personally and that I am comfortable recommending to Amazon sellers. And I highly recommend Sacha. She knows her stuff. The first person I had her give advice to was to me, okay? And I thought it was absolutely awesome. Okay, in terms of fee structure and pricing, so the people watching this webinar are going to reach out to you. You're going to say, hey, Sacha, I want to talk to you. I want you to look at my listings. How does it work from there logistically, and what does it cost sellers?
So for a basic listing without any keyword research, because sometimes clients want to provide me with the keywords because they already have from the sales history from PPC, they can see which keywords they're getting sales from. So then they give me the list of keywords already, which saves me some time. So that's $200. If I do the keyword research, then it's $300 for a listing. And then for EBC, it really kind of depends on the products and how many variations they have of the products and stuff like that. But I have all the pricing on my website as well, so people can see that. And in terms of like brand packages, like developing brand story and brand personality and all that kind of stuff, that's also kind of custom. It really depends on how much work needs doing, how much research they've already done. So.
All right. I think that is very, very fair. Okay. Writing a listing, one requires specialized education, which I know you have a killer education. It requires someone who writes for a living, who knows products and knows Amazon, and Sacha brings all those skill sets to Amazon sellers. And I think your pricing is very, very fair. I think it's in a lot of times you probably lose a bit of money on the more complex listings where it doesn't flow as easily. So I think it's fair. I think that's what Amazon sellers need. They need fair pricing for high quality stuff, and Sacha does that. Okay, couple of things. One, global sources in Hong Kong is coming up really, really fast. If you are in the United States and you have never gone to Asia to source products, it's April 27, 28, and 29 in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is incredibly easy to get your foot in the door because you fly in, you don't need a visa. You go right, the airport is connected to a hotel, which is connected to a tram, which takes you right to the Expo Center. The Expo Center has a second hotel right there, and you can hear awesome courses of inspiration, education about how to sell better on Amazon. I'll be there. And also, if you want to sell to Generation Z, okay? Yeah. These are today's teenagers. And Sacha, I don't remember how old your kids are. How old are yours?
6, 4, and 2.
Oh my God, you still have babies. My daughter is 15 years old, and I can tell you her and her friends spend a boatload of money. My awesome stepdaughter is 14, and between the two of them, I think they could support a whole town. And my daughter Samantha, I was leading somewhere, I forgot where I was going with it. My daughter Samantha Rosenbaum will be speaking at Global Sources in Hong Kong on the 27th about how to sell to Generation Z. The final promo I want to do has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with Sacha's awesome services. It has to do with a charity called the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. My buddy Lou and his incredible wife Cindy lost their son Ty to brain cancer a few years ago, and they turned this awful tragedy into triumph by creating the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. I'm going to type it on the screen. And what they do is they raise money. Hold on, foundation's challenging to me. The Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. They raise money to find better treatments and God willing, a cure for pediatric cancers. And if you are selling on Amazon, you are shopping on Amazon. And go through Amazon Smiles program. And if you don't have a charity of your own, please pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. For every single purchase you make, Amazon will donate a portion to the charity. It costs the sellers nothing. It costs the buyers nothing. It is a fantastic program that Amazon has. So please, Amazon Smiles, and please, please, please pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Sacha, thank you very much for being on. I hope you get a lot of people contacting you. I can't endorse Sacha anymore because she helped us with our marketing efforts. She helped me with our branding. So thank you for your help to me. Thank you for being on, and good luck with the 3 little ones. I can't believe you went camping with a 2-year-old.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. There was another family that came with a 1-year-old. So yeah,
you and your husband are champs. I would not do that for like all the tea in China. Thanks for being on, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event.
All right, bye.